Hey guys, and welcome to this very special episode of the StarBeast Podcast. I'm your host, Jack, and I have a guest with me today, Matthew Brando. Some of you might know about there. How you doing, Matthew?
I'm pretty good. How about you, my friend?
Very good, very good. Eager to talk about Alien 3.
Yes.
We haven't really got like a set structure for this conversation. With Alien Covenant coming out, I think you and I were talking about that, and then we got into the subject of Alien 3 and what's going on there. And
yeah.
You and I are both very passionate about this film, and I think we both agree that we think it's highly underrated.
Oh, yeah.
So I was going to say, the first thing I wanted to bring up about Alien 3, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it, is when did you first experience it, and how has it impacted you?
That's a great question. I think in high school was when I might have turned like 16 or 17. I watched all like the Alien films. So this is like 06 or 2005 or something. And obviously a big fan of Jurassic, just like yourself. Like, in my opinion, an analogy, this is like the adult Jurassic Park franchise to me. There's creatures,
isn't it?
There's people being eaten, and it's really violent and awesome.
And there's a company trying to exploit them.
Yes, it's pretty close. But I was like, all right, I'm gonna check out this xenomorph stuff. Like you know, everyone's like, oh, predators, xenomorphs. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna check out predators and xenomorphs. And I watched Alien. I loved it. I actually saw the director's cut first, and I which is pretty much the Fox producer's cut. It's not Ridley's. Ridley's is the theatrical, which you already probably know this. But loved Alien. Loved Aliens. And then I got to Alien 3 when I was in high school, and I didn't like it. I thought, like, oh man, I don't like the cinematography, the directing, all these low angle shots. I hate it. I didn't like it. And then I didn't like Resurrection either. And then I went up to see Alien vs. Predator when it came out. But I revisited it for some reason. I think they released the quad set on Blu-ray, and I revisited Alien 3, and I also revisited Aliens. I think I might have seen a theatrical, and then I saw the special edition. I was like, wow, special edition is pretty cool. And then so I didn't even watch the theatrical. I don't think of Alien 3. I watched the assembly cut. And for some reason, man, something just clicked in my mind, and I fell in love with the movie. I thought it was so beautiful of a story. The way it was shot, I loved the direction. And to find out there's just so much stuff behind the scenes that David Fincher had to deal with is just mind-boggling. That he produced such a great film, in my opinion. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I thought it's just my favorite out of all of them, if it's not Alien. And here's the thing. I'm just gonna dive right into it. The supporting characters, dude. The supporting characters of the film. Yes, they are pieces of crap. They're rapists, murderers. But what other film has an arc for these characters? Like, these guys are lowlifes, but I'm kind of really.
Well, I think that ties into the whole like religious angle.
Yeah.
It's like you've got all these people, and all of them bald. All of them look the same, and even Ripley, on a sort of metaphorical and also literal sense, she gets her head shaven and she basically blends into the crowd.
Yeah.
And I think that there's this theme of the religion running throughout the film, and part of it is that it's forgiveness.
Oh, absolutely.
So these guys are the worst pieces of shit that humankind has to give out, right?
Yep.
And you have to kind of learn to love the idea of that even someone so hideously cruel in their life can do something right if it needs to be done.
Yep.
So like, they make that self-sacrifice at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Bite the dust, and they're all going to be silent heroes. Like, of course, Weyland-Yutani's not going to tell the world about this. So they're all going to die, and no one's going to care.
Yeah.
And no one will know. And it's the same for Ripley. So I think that, like, you're right with the supporting characters, how they have this arc, and they start from literally the bottom of the barrel.
Exactly.
And it's not meant to be like at the end that you're meant to be singing praises for what they've done or anything as characters, but I think it's meant to be more like, hey, like, it's all about forgiveness, isn't it? You forgive their sins or whatever, but because they save humanity.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. I mean, like, me as a person, I'm not perfect. Like, why should I go into this film and hate it because these guys are murderers and rapists? I've made mistakes, and I'm not gonna vilify these characters for what they've done in the past. So it's like we're all human beings, and I don't know. I just kind of felt for them more than what I did for the Marines, who are just a bunch of idiots. I know it's a war film. I know what Cameron is doing. I love Aliens, but I felt like the supporting characters, I felt maybe because I'm a religious person and it had the religious under and overtones of the movie, but I just felt like more of a connection to Alien 3 because of that, and then Alien.
See, that's interesting because I'm not a religious person.
Oh,
but I connect to it on a very religious level.
Interesting. That's interesting.
I understand what the kind of story is. I understand it, and I'm not religious myself, but I watch the film and I'm not fazed by it. Sometimes people watch this who aren't religious and they'll be like, it's got too many symbolism in there and all this sort of stuff for me that they don't like. But I think it really enhances the end chapter, or what was meant to be the end chapter of Ripley's story.
Right.
And obviously, like I said, it's all about forgiveness for the prisoners, and it's about sacrifice for Ripley and loss and tragedy and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I get those themes, and I think they really, really work in the film. I don't know if the assembly cut has that shot of the cross that's like a metal.
I don't think so.
Cross. I think they cut
no, wait,
that,
wait. I don't think they have. You mean the TC? You don't know if the theatrical cut has it?
No, I think the theatrical cut has it.
Okay, then I'm assuming the assembly definitely does too, because I think that's why I saw it first. Yeah. I don't know if the TC has it though, but if you say the TC has it, I think I trust you.
Yeah, I think it's the assembly cut doesn't have it.
Really?
I think so. But the only reason I bring that up is because if that is the only one that whenever I see it, I'm like, did the prisoners build that, or is that by an accident? Because if it's an accident, that's way on the nose.
Yeah, they definitely built that shit. I remember I did my review with Chris Stuckmann, and I watched so much stuff. I did like 4 days. I was up till like 4 a.m. Like, it was like a test. I wanted to make sure I had everything down. I didn't want to look like an idiot in front of like millions of people. But they, like, Fincher, I guess, it was like a contest that I forget. It wasn't ILM, because apparently ILM was gonna make like all the special effects and stuff for the film. But
really?
Yeah, but like, for some reason they went with somebody I think may have been cheaper. I don't know who the special effects house was, but the people within that special effects house, it was like 4 different designs, and whatever Fincher picked for the shot like won like the little contest they had, and like that one was the cross that you saw, which was the best one when I rewatched all of that, the behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think they had them all lined up in one of the making of.
Yeah, that's still video. Yeah, you can still watch that. That's on the quad set, I believe. So I want to get.
I've got the film playing right now.
Oh, nice,
as we speak. I haven't started it from the beginning. I've actually started it from the moment. As it Boggs and Rains meet their fate in front of Golic.
Oh, great stuff. The dragon. I want to say that right now. I cannot forget to say this. And you're from the UK, and I'm going to give praise to these actors. The supporting cast of this movie, I don't know if it is because they're from the UK and actors themselves over there coming to, or actually they filmed it in Britain, but
yeah, they shot it at Pinewood, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. At least a majority of the film. But there's something about the actors in this film that just they seem really real in the first one and more of a cartoons in the second one. But I feel like people over where you're at across the pond, they respect theater more and they respect acting more rather than I think maybe here in the States.
There's a lot of thespian actors in this movie, like Pete Postlethwaite and what's the other name? Charles Dance.
Yeah.
A lot of stage actors in this movie, and I think that you're right. They take their role very seriously. I also think that some of the role that you see, or some of the performances you see in this film, might also be equated to the production that it was going through as well. But I don't see. This is the weird thing for me. Aside from the rod puppet compositing effects, that, admittedly everyone agrees they don't hold up. I actually don't care.
I don't either. No, I don't either. I agree with you.
It never takes me out of the film.
No, it doesn't.
But it what was I going to say? I've forgotten now. It's like Oh yeah, no, yeah. So the film went through production, and obviously you can see it in the making of, and it went through production hell.
Yeah.
And I actually watched the film, and like I said, aside from the rod puppet effects, I really don't see any damage to the film.
Right.
Through this, it's like this perfect sequel was born from chaos.
Right.
And it only makes it, for me, that also enhances the film, because it's like, how could a film that looks this good, is acted this well, caps a trilogy off perfectly, how did it make it through all that mess? And I think whenever I watch it, I'm always reminded of that now. And obviously as a kid, when I grew up watching it, because I first saw it when I was 4 years old.
Nice.
Mum recorded it off TV for me and was like, hey, watch this, you like Jurassic Park, and you watch this monster movie. She really didn't care. But I was scared by it, but I was really curious. And even then, I didn't care about the effects, and I just concentrated on this world. And I've never seen anything like it since, or even before it. Like, obviously, when you say the name Alien-3, a lot of people are going to think, oh, a monster, eating people again and all this sort of stuff. But take a movie like Aliens. Now, don't get me wrong, I think Aliens is a perfect movie for the most part. Like, I love the trilogy all the same. And when I say trilogy, I'm not counting Alien Resurrection.
No, F that movie.
Kind of dog shit. But what I'm saying is, like, take Aliens. Everyone who saw Aliens loved it, even myself when I saw it. But to have Alien-3 as the follow-up, obviously everyone talks about Newton Hicks being killed off right off the bat, and how did the egg get on the Sulaco, and all this sort of this stuff. And they say obviously the film has a very depressing tone because it's all about Ripley losing everyone and all this, that, and the other. It's like Hollywood would never make this film now.
Oh, dude, no way.
And it's amazing that through the shoddy production that they went through, of like all the emotions and all the negativity and all that nonsense, to hold on to actually keeping to this story and not falling onto somewhere safe, like, oh, have Ripley, Hicks, and you go off and kill loads of aliens as a family unit. Which Blumenkamp's proposing.
Oh my god.
Don't get me started on that. But it's it's like amazing that they actually stuck to this story, even though they were writing it as they were going for the most part. It's amazing that it just dumbfounds me every time when I watch. I'm like, this is a sequel to one of the most popular sequels of all time, and they chose
great
to go this route, and it's such out of left field.
No, it's awesome. Yeah, you're totally right, dude. They would never ever take that much risk nowadays. Like, everything has to be sequels, reboots.
Especially with a franchise as big as this, especially like Aliens, when that came out, the blockbuster that it was, with its one-liners and everything towards the end. But yeah, what was I going to say? So what do you think about the runner? What do you think about the alien itself in this one compared to other films?
You mean the design of it, or
everything, the character of it?
I don't know. I really like it, and from what I've known, from my own research, I guess the Bambi Burster was David Fincher's idea. And just speaking of David Fincher, I think you said just like a couple minutes ago, you're like, I don't know how the hell they made such a good film out of such a hell of a production. And I think the answer to that is David Fincher. It's just
I think you're right.
And I was on YouTube, some review or something, and some guy commented and said, or no, it might have been like Twitter. It was like, I'll take studio interfered Fincher over Blomkamp fan fiction any day. I was like, you know what, I wouldn't mind seeing like an alternate, even if it does erase Alien 3, because we still have Alien 3. I wouldn't mind seeing Neil's movie, but I'm probably not gonna like it.
No, don't get me wrong, like if he gets it and it's all properly greenlit, I think it's on the fence at the moment.
Right.
I'm gonna be all like supportive of him.
Absolutely.
And hope it does really well. But what jars with me is the Alien franchise, even Alien versus Predator 1 and 2. All of it is not meant to be canon because Prometheus pretty much retconned AVP. But But you could, if you wanted to, watch them all in order, and they would all. You could have them all as one story, and it's weird to have Blumenkamp suggesting this storyline because it would create a fork in the road.
Yeah,
it'd be like a choose your own ending kind of. And I think with someone as talented as him, because I did enjoy Chappie.
You said you did, you said or did or didn't?
I did.
Oh shit! Okay.
And the reason I enjoyed it is because it took risks for a major blockbuster. I mean, you don't see not every day you see a RoboCop Terminator remake where someone gets cut in half and thrown against a wall. Even the RoboCop remake didn't take that many risks.
Yeah, that was pretty
safe. I think Chappie is the perfect RoboCop remake, but that's a whole other podcast. But anyway, point is that District 9 obviously is his golden egg. Yeah. District 9 is perfect.
Yeah.
And to have someone as talented as him suggesting that he wants to retcon Alien 3 and Resurrection, it kind of, it doesn't really make sense to me. It's like, doesn't he watch Alien 3 and see how kick-ass it is?
No, I think he's probably like everybody else. Like a lot of people hate that they killed Newton Hicks, and I don't know, or maybe we just see...
but this is the thing. I hear people saying, they killed Newton Hicks, and that's wrong because it makes aliens worthless.
Yeah.
It's like, well, one, the Alien 3 storyline isn't about them.
Right. It's not.
So it's about Ripley. It's always been about Ripley.
Absolutely.
And Alien 3 is actually probably more about Ripley than it is the actual alien.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And the big shock in this film is that the alien's inside her. That's meant to be the, like, holy shit. Like, that's where the alien queen is residing. But two... like, what was I saying? I keep forgetting my points now. What was I talking about?
It was pretty much these films are Ripley's films. They're not anyone else's. This is her journey, essentially.
I can't remember now. It's been a long day, man.
Newton Hicks getting killed.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, Newton Hicks.
Yeah.
Tell me what Newton Hicks did in the previous film, in Aliens, that made them so amazing.
Exactly, dude. I want to say the same thing in my own analysis.
Don't get me wrong. I like the characters a lot. Like, I like Newt. She's a fantastic character in her own right, and it's cool that she survived and all this sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. But she is a vessel for Ripley to be like, the mother figure.
Yeah.
She's that object for Ripley to be like, okay, I've got to look after this person. And Hicks is the love interest for the most part.
Yeah.
And he's cool and everything, and he does have some kick-ass one-liners, and he does have my favorite moment of Aliens. He does own that, which is when the alien opens the APC doors and sticks his head in, he goes, "Eat this!" and just blasts his head off. However, I understand that the story, since when Ripley became the main protagonist in Alien, she's the focus.
Yeah.
And Aliens, Newton Hicks were survivors at the end because they were with Ripley. But if you're going to make another Alien film, the core thing about the Alien films is Ripley is the only one to survive.
Yes, it is.
and with the whole religious angle again, it's like, it's almost poetic that she is the only one to survive. And then Alien 3 tells the story about how she deals with literally being backed into a corner with nowhere else to go.
Yeah, it's a beautiful ending. It really is. They pulled out all the stops.
Yeah, they really do.
And then,
I'm currently watching on screen now the bit with the aliens right next to her after it's just killed Clemens.
Oh my god, that's such a great
one
risky
of the most
move.
iconic shots from the franchise.
Right, that in the trailer and shit. That's such a risky move. They pulled the Psycho, and you think, oh, Clemens, she banged Clemens, and Clemens is gonna be a hero. No, actually, Dylan is the man. He's gonna be our main male hero, and that switcheroo is just so awesome, and it's a perfect symbol for the whole film and franchise. Like, everything that Ripley's been close to gets pulled away. Even like
Newton Hicks get offed right in the second. Then later on, Bishop. I think a lot of people forget that Bishop gets switched back on and then off.
Yeah.
So that original Bishop gets killed off halfway through the film, and then not long after that, Andrews and Clemens. And you're right. It's like they pull the rug from under you again while you're watching the film. You're like, okay, where is this going?
Yeah.
It is fascinating because it is like Ripley has to look after this group of ragtag bunch of people. And I think that in the previous films, obviously, crew expendable, Marines expendable, as Ripley says, like, why would anyone care about you guys? And that's the whole point of the movie. It's why should... And she's not talking about... Obviously, in the storyline, she's talking about why would the company care about you guys, but she could almost be talking about the audience. Why should the audience care about these prisoners who have caused so much shit in their lives?
Yeah.
Why should you care for them? Because they make the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful in some weird, twisted way.
No, it is. And it's almost like a mirror, like I said earlier, it's almost like a mirror of our own lives. Even though we're not murderers, we've made mistakes and we like to somehow have a little arc of our own and maybe ask for forgiveness. And they just do it to kill this beast that's killed their friends and not have... And also, if you think about the larger scale picture, save humanity, because the company's going to take this thing and clone it and all this shit. But yeah, it was...
Exactly.
I wish it would have ended at that one, not at the freaking resurrection. Just
well, don't get me wrong. Okay, I'm gonna say some things now. I like Alien Resurrection.
Oh my
god. However, I don't like it as an Alien film.
Okay.
I can't watch it as an Alien film, but I love it as a 90s sci-fi comedy horror.
Yeah.
It's if it wasn't an Alien film, if it was given a different title and then the designs of the aliens were tweaked and obviously Ripley's character was rewritten, it could have made a perfect, like, almost Independence Day style, cheesy tongue-in-cheek blockbuster. Yeah. And I think they could have really made it work, but unfortunately they wanted to bring Ripley back. And I mean, again, it's like Neil Blomkamp and Sigourney Weaver have both said in interviews that they want to give Ripley a to quote, proper ending. And it's like, well, what ending do you want to give her? She's self-sacrificed herself to save all of humanity without any credit, being a silent hero, and saved the day and won. She's been cloned and then saved the day again, but this time she survived. But the sort of curse of that is being half alien herself. The only other option he has left now is to let her lose, and either lose and stay alive or lose and die. And it's like, well, if you make her win again, then you're just literally repeating what we've seen before.
Exactly.
And how is that a proper ending? So I don't know. But enough about Neil Blomkamp. I could go on all day about that.
Yeah. What you said earlier about Resurrection, I can totally see your point there. For me, I find the film okay. Like, it's a very cheesy B movie until, for me, it jumps. It's like a 5 or a 6 out of 10 of the film itself until they get to the newborn. And I'm like, this is...
and then it drops down to a 2.
No, it drops down to like a 1. Like, I hate it so much when it's like it's the
Milky Bar
it's not just the design, it's not just the noises it makes, not just it killing the queen's jaw. It's Brad Dourif in the background. Oh, you're so beautiful. And then when it goes, yay, and then it kills the queen, Brad Dourif, no. I'm like, dude, this is... And then to top off the icing on the cake, we got the thing being sucked out the window and it's making like these human noises. I'm like, this is...
Dude, don't get me wrong. That death for the newborn, I think's perfect. And do you know why? Because it's the most hideous death you could give that thing.
My God.
Like, you try and think, oh, you hate this thing so much. How do you want to kill it? I think that's the perfect way. It's screaming. It's hideous. It's like... the worst way to go.
Oh man, because that movie's got like Ron Perlman. It's funny. It's got some...
Dude, they all had so much talent. Like Brad Dourif. Is that
Brad Dourif. Brad
Dourif. He's a fantastic actor.
Oh yeah,
like really, really good. And it's like they completely underused him.
Oh yeah, for sure. Every film that he's in, that character actor is just so fantastic. I did a analysis of Exorcist 3, which he played a part in, and I loved him in that film. Like every role he does, he's like Chucky and stuff. He pretty much kills it. He nails it out of the park every time he does it. He's a
chameleon actor. There's a lot of films out there people don't know that he's a part of. I watched an episode of Star Trek Voyager where he plays a guy who has these urges to just kill people, and he's part of the engineering crew, So randomly one day he just gets up off his post, walks over and just kills a person in the bottom
amazing.
of the ship. And he just admits it to the crew. He's like, yeah, I just have these really dark feelings. Like, I just had to vent myself.
That's
so
awesome.
They lock him. I'm going to give you some spoilers for Voyager here.
That's
so
fine.
They lock him. They lock him in the brig. And eventually the ship gets taken over by this alien race, and then the alien race dumps the entire crew on the planet, on a random planet, and says, "Fend for yourselves." And because there's like dinosaur creatures there, and
Perfect.
And while the ship's being kidnapped, obviously Brandon Dorff's character is still on there, so he saves the day. This murderer goes around the ship, and he goes, "Well, I love killing." So he goes around and kills all the crew of this alien, and then returns the ship to the crew, essentially. It's fantastic. It's like, oh wow, great switch up. It's making me root for another murderer.
Right.
But yeah, I think it was, it's interesting that I brought that episode up, because it is very similar to almost the, character building in this.
Yeah. I forget what we were talking about, something before Resurrection.
We're talking about Alien Resurrection. And,
we were talking about something before Resurrection, though. I got off track.
we were talking about the alien. There's a character.
The runner. Yeah. We can just dive into right now dog versus ox too. Because I talked a little bit of ox, because you're like, religious symbolism of the ox. I was like, oh, I never thought about that. And then I looked it up, and I'm gonna ask you if you think the same thing. So I said this in Chris's review. The ox in early ancient Israel is
yes, I know about this.
Okay, then you already know. But for the people that don't know, so maybe it's not the same thing you're thinking of. But what I was thinking of was ox in early ancient Israel was like known as like the most important item that a person can own. If you were to lose your ox, it was so important to you that it was almost like losing your whole life, your whole livelihood. So, in a way, having it as an ox rather than a dog. And here's the thing, I understand people are like, oh, I think the dog bursting is better because it's a runner, it's supposed to be faster, like small like a dog. I was like, okay, I can see that. But I like
that's bullshit, because the xenomorph DNA is what makes it fast.
That's true.
It's the xenomorph, enhances the creature.
But I prefer the ox for the religious symbolism that here we have it bursting out of an ox, the most important thing to a man. And yet here we are with Ripley, the only thing that she's ever known is a line from the film that's bursting out. It's like the only thing she's ever known. It's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, it's a...
Well, I prefer the ox as well, for a number of reasons, which I'll go into a minute. I think a lot of people talk about the dog scene because obviously a dog is, one, a little bit more cuter than an ox. That's subjective, but I think a lot of people would say that a dog is more cuter than an ox, and plus the ox is dead when you see it to begin with, whereas you see the dog go through the
it's more
whole
fucked
chest
up.
burster thing. But I think some of the editing with the dog scene is probably a little bit more fast-paced and probably a little bit better in terms of the choppy editing between the dog kicking its legs and then, because with the ox you just see the stomach sort of like push out a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's really nitpicking, and I like both, but the ox sways it for me for one big reason. But I'll let you say which one you prefer.
I definitely prefer the ox, probably because and not so much I don't know why people would think that I like the dog burster cute because the dog's cuter. Like, why would you think that? I like dogs. I'm a dog lover. Rather than cat lover. I'm allergic to cats, sadly. But I don't want to see a xenomorph getting burnt out of a dog. I want to see it getting burnt out of an ox, let alone the religious symbolism. So I always prefer the ox, let alone it's in the better cut of the film. So
yeah. I'll tell you this, right? The reason I like the ox more is because, and this is a theory of mine, which I got from another fan on AVP Galaxy some years back. The ox scene explains how the egg got onto the Sulaco.
What?
Now, let me explain. In the assembly cut, you see two types of face huggers. You see one climbing on top of the cryotube that is a regular face hugger that we've seen before. And then obviously Murphy holds up the giant, what is known as the royal face hugger.
Right.
Or queen face hugger, whatever you want to call it.
That's why I call it the
now,
queen.
Assuming Ripley well, I think we all agree that Ripley got impregnated while she was in the EEV.
Yeah.
So the one that impregnated Ripley was the normal facehugger.
Yeah.
The normal facehugger obviously came from the egg, but how did that egg get to where it was? And this is where you have to use a little bit of headcanon here. The reason that facehugger is so big, the one Murphy holds up, is because it carries eggs on its back and hides them in secret locations. So, like, the Queen probably had an egg stored on her somewhere. There's a lot of people who say, like, the Queen can lay one emergency egg or whatever.
Yeah.
I like to think she could probably just pick one up or hide it in her back spikes. And then that, while the battle was going on Sulaco, this little facehugger, like a hermit crab, crawled off with the egg on its back and hid it up on the wall, and then went into the EEV with the other facehugger. That one laid the egg in Ripley, and then that one laid the runner in the Ox. Because everyone calls it the royal facehugger or the Queen facehugger, and they're like, oh yeah, that's the one that laid the Queen. It's like, no, if you watch the assembly cut, the one in the EEV that's attacking the cryotubes isn't that one. It's a completely different facehugger. They even show it. It's a different facehugger.
I think the fingers, because the Queen's is like webbed. Because I think the design was like, because it could swim or some shit that they said. I don't remember. But
yeah, there's something in like the novelization or something to do with the water. But I mean, it's a fan theory of mine that I tend to agree with, that the reason now for me, until it's proven otherwise, that it has that webbing is because it has to have a strong back to carry an egg. And a lot of people have kind of dissected that picture of the egg on the Sulaco and have derived that it does look kind of smaller than a normal egg. But even so, if you look at the size of the facehugger that Murphy holds up, it's massive, and it could definitely hold something on its back.
Oh, absolutely. Dude, I'm a fan of your fan theories. Like, that's why I first kind of discovered you outside of the Masrani thing, because your Lost World Nick Van Owen severed hand theory, which that was making the rounds, and I watched that video. You just actually re-uploaded it, I think. I
did, yeah. I wanted to re-upload it because it's become relevant again.
Oh man, I watched that and I was like, dude, I think this guy has a point. This might, because like, what the hell is, like, it was never really explained, even though I love Lost World.
Well, the thing is, I whenever I come up with these theories, like the egg on the back of the facehugger isn't mine. I saw an image online of someone had posted a picture of that facehugger with an egg on its back, and they were like, did this carry the egg? And then I elaborated on how that could have possibly have gone down. Whenever I try and like come up with a theory, I always try and keep it in the rules that the films have established.
Right.
I don't ever try.
Don't make it crazy.
Something, because obviously the Queen laying an emergency egg, I'm like, well, no, she needed the egg sac, so she couldn't really do that, but she could pick one up. She could have picked an egg up and just put it on her back. Is that really that hard to imagine the Queen doing that?
Yeah.
Probably not. It uses a lift, for Christ's sake. It knows how to use a lift. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, that makes sense to me. So I speak to Charles de Lazarick, who did the assembly cut, because he follows me on Twitter, so
that's cool.
We chat and every now and then, and I'm working up to asking him about this because I want to approach this theory to him, but I'm just waiting for my right moment to strike. But yeah, he was saying to me he would love to get his hands on Prometheus and do an edit of that.
What other stuff besides like the Christmas deleted scenes? I mean, is there more stuff that, I mean, because I'm not a member of the forums, I don't know anything, I guess.
Oh, there's loads.
No way.
There's the whole Shaw versus the engineer fight at the end, which went on for a lot longer in that ship, where she's like attacking it with the axe. And
more than the deleted scenes?
No. There's probably lots more than the deleted scenes on the Blu-ray, but no, I've only seen what's on there.
Because I've read the I forget the guy's name who did the original Spates. Whoever did
John Spates.
Yeah, John Spates. So I read the John Spates script of Prometheus, and then I read the Damien Lindelof, or I pronounce his name, who deleted his Twitter or something, which kind of sucks. His Twitter was pretty cool. He would make fun of like stuff. It was awesome. And anyways, I preferred the Damon or Damien. I forget his name. I think it's Damon.
Damien Lindelof. Yeah.
I preferred the Damon script so much because
Damon.
I think it's Damon. Yeah, it's Damon, right? I'm terrible. Yeah. I'm dyslexic. I'm terrible with names. But I read the Spates and then I read the Damon. I was like, dude, the Damon is like way better of a script to me. Like it improves on a lot. And I guess the Spates might have given us what we have now for Covenant. It was just like maybe too much, maybe a little bit too early.
I think some of that script's bleeding over. I just have a feeling that there's going to be a lot from Spates script.
Yeah.
Sort of makes its way on.
It was almost too much Alien rather than like the mythos or the mythology of the, like that was the whole thing. It was God, who the hell was it? I just did this research for that Alien 3 review with Chris. I think it was whoever, Lemmy Harlan. Who's the
Rennie
guy?
Harlan.
Yeah. I don't know the director for Die Hard 2. I forget his name. Harlan.
Yeah, I think it's Rennie.
Rennie. Yeah, it was Rennie. It's Rennie. Yeah. So Rennie, I think he had two ideas. He didn't like the ideas that Fox had for Alien 3, and the first one was going to the planet where the aliens are from, and he pictured like this anthill with like a bunch of xenomorphs on it, like ants. And Fox shot it down and said, no one's interested in that. And then what we get in 2012, we get that.
I love Prometheus.
Oh, me too.
But there are I've got a fan edit as well, DVD by this guy called Agent 9, and that's the version that we should have got, because he reintroduces all the deleted scenes and he CGIs over any of the inconsistencies, like wires that you can see, and he blends it almost perfectly.
Oh wow.
The only thing it doesn't really blend well is the sound. It sort of goes up in volume by a tad whenever a new scene comes in, and some of the color correction needs a bit of tweaking. However, but in both cuts, the fan edit I've got and the theatrical cut, there's one shot in the film that really pisses me off, and both of them have it still in. It's when Vickers is walking to see Wayland. She's going into his room to give the whole, like, a king had his reign speech. And there's two guards standing by the door. And those guards, much like Golic in the original cut of the theatrical, they just disappear. You never see them ever again. They don't go down to see the engineer and get killed. They don't... I assume they're still on the ship when it gets blown up. I assume they're still in the bottom going, we're now heading home, I guess.
I never really looked for that. The only real flaw, I give Prometheus probably like an 8 out of 10. The only big flaw I have with that film is that as cool as it is for the plot and all that stuff, they wake up and they get briefed. Like, wait a minute, you're on a ship and you don't know what job you're doing.
You need to go into the, unfortunately in this modern age, you need to go into the viral videos for the answers there. The essentially the mission was, as far as I can tell, the mission was like created very quickly. So they basically paid a load of people. Like Shaw and Holloway were already on board because they just want to go meet their makers, right? But with people like Fifield, Milburn, Yannick, and the other characters, it's like they were the people who were bought out the cheapest. And like, you've just got to come. We're going to throw loads of money at you, but we'll tell you what it's about when we get there.
It was almost like a AVP type deal for me. They're being
it is stupid looking at it through the lens of the world we live in, for the most part.
That's true. This is a different type of setup.
But when you think about like they're colonizing Mars and this, that, and the other, and it's like, and when you've got the most Wayland comes to you and says, or the Wayland company comes to you and says, look, we've got the secret mission, we're going to go on, we need you to come with us, but we can't tell you what it is till we get there. Here's the numbers you're going to get. This is the company that is first colonizing Mars. You've got to look at it like that. It's like, of course you would say yes. You'd be like, yes, shit, yeah. In this crummy alien world, you're going to take any offer you can get. And obviously, this is, as audience members, we know what they're going up against. I would say, with like Milburn, I kind of wish they'd just established a little bit more that he's almost like a Steve Irwin when it comes to animals, that he will just jump on anything if he sees it wiggling.
I just saw Life with my friend John. He's a writer, and he's like, I like Life so much more than I like Prometheus. There's so many stupid scientists in Prometheus. Like, I mean, the guy likes animals. He's like, I just hate it. I was like, all right, whatever, I can't change his mind.
It's also down to the fact that these were cheap scientists. I think my gripe I have with Prometheus is they didn't establish that enough. They didn't establish enough how convoluted this team was, that they were literally just cobbled together really last minute, and they weren't the best in their field. They were just the people who were willing to go on this crazy mission. So that's why they were a bit stupid and a bit half-assed.
I can see that. I can see that now.
But but it's really interesting seeing with like what Covenant's doing as it's coming out. Because I've only seen up till at this current time, I've only seen the big trailer where it reveals the xenomorph at the end.
Yeah.
And the teaser. And I wasn't going to watch the big trailer until someone on Twitter just sent me a picture of it and said, "Oh, cool! Look at this."
Yeah, I unfortunately
cheers.
I saw.
Cheers for that.
Yeah, I unfortunately have seen the photo of the design, and for me, I'm starting to stay away from trailers more. Like I haven't seen the Thor 3 trailer because I'm going to see the movie. I haven't seen the newest Guardians trailer. I don't want to because I'm going to see the films. And
I haven't seen the new Guardians one.
So when Covenant they have what 2 trailers right now? I haven't seen either of them. I don't want to see.
They had free TV spots.
Oh my god. Okay, so yeah, I'm not gonna see any of these.
We're like nearly a month out, so you might as well. Yeah, we might as well just wait another month. And then it'll be here.
Whenever they first came out, I was like, I'm not seeing it because I know I'm gonna see it. It's Ridley Scott. It's Alien. I want to go in with 0 expectations, even though I want it to be good. I don't want to know anything of the plot. But I accidentally saw Logan like twice so far. The second time, they played the trailer.
I still haven't seen that.
Oh, dude, you have to. It's great. But they played the trailer.
I've heard good things.
In America here, they show a shit ton of trailers. They show like 20 minutes worth, so like 10 trailers. And they showed Alien Covenant once the first time and once the second time. But the first time I kind of like, I was with my buddy. I was right next to him. I just kind of like closed my eyes and covered my ears and hummed. But the second time I wasn't with anybody. I was by myself. And I kind of just like bolted out of the theater, but I accidentally heard like the whole plot like setup of why they're going to the planet, and I was like, no, I didn't want to hear that. And I just want to go in with a fresh mind because
that's the best way to experience a film that you love, is to go in as kind of fresh as you can, because that way the film will surprise you.
Yeah, exactly.
But saying that, some films can be enhanced by their trailers. There's no denying that. You can watch a trailer for a film and be super pumped, and then still be super pumped by the time you get to the cinema, and not worry about what you've seen because you just want to see the whole thing.
Right.
But with Covenant, I mean, I want to hold back because it is a beloved franchise of mine. It's like, I can eat all this shit up, all the time. And I think it's just going back to Alien³ I think it's really interesting what Covenant is setting up, because the more these films get made, especially with the prequel, the sort of era that they're tackling, going back and watching Alien³ and watching Aliens and Alien is so interesting, because you watch Alien³ now knowing that the engineers made the Alien, or as far as we know, the engineers made the Alien, and there's all this backstory, and it's like it for me it enhances Alien³ even more because of how claustrophobic and small the story kind of is.
Oh yeah,
that it is on this little stupid little prison backwater planet that, as my friend Ross said, it's future history. Like, you watch Alien³ and it's like, it looks futuristic even though it looks really retro at the same time.
Yeah.
But it's also a forgotten place. So it's the history of the future. So it's really a weird setting. And but now watching Covenant and Prometheus, it's like they're opening up the universe to this massive mind-bending kind of storylines. And then you watch Alien³ now and it's so small and convoluted, well, not convoluted, what's the word I'm looking for? Small and contained, that it really does enhance it for me.
It's all the 3 let's just say it's 3. I'm not going to talk about the other ones. So, like, Alien is on a ship. It's more so like contained, like in the Aliens, like it is in the rest of the films. It's just like the one planet, and actually just like the one little colony. And then in Alien³ it's just like the one little, like, indoors area, because we really don't explore outside. Which apparently I think Fincher wanted to. He wanted to shoot like a lot of outdoor stuff. Apparently.
Yeah, I've had that as well. I think it was obviously more in the Vincent Ward script, when it was more like the wooden planet. There was a lot of outside cornfield scenes and stuff, and I think some of that was originally going to bleed over into this film. And obviously the assembly cut does have a lot more of the outside with the whole opening on the beach and everything. But I mean, obviously each Alien film does take place in one location for the majority. But what I mean is in terms of like the themes and the overall world building is Prometheus and Covenant have set up this really large scope. It's like, oh, okay, we've got engineers and they're creating this, and there's all these other creatures, and not only that, you've got, you know, more people, and Wayland's doing this, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then you go to Alien³ knowing all that information, and it really does enhance the film. I think it makes the aliens seem way more weird and scary.
And they've been trying to get this damn thing for like the longest time, and all started with them just trying to find a god. Who are our creators?
Exactly. It's interesting because if Covenant sets up what I'm thinking they're going towards, then it's going to be really interesting why the company wants the aliens so much. It might not be for the bioweapons division after all, which what Ripley fears. Well, it might be, but it also might be for a much more, I'm going to use the word biblical reason. And it's like, oh crap, like you better stop this thing because this is going to be literally the end of mankind if this thing gets out. Yeah.
I guess, did Ridley Scott say what he wanted to do, like 6 more?
Oh God. I think he said he wanted to do, well, he revealed the title for the next one.
So we are going to get another Ridley after this one, and we're not going to get the Blomkamp. Yes, okay.
so he said that in an interview recently, I can't remember who it was with, so excuse me for misquoting here, but he said in an interview that the next film after Covenant is Alien Awakening.
Yeah, I think I've heard that, yeah.
And that's a prequel to Covenant.
What?
So in terms of continuity, it goes Prometheus, Alien Awakening, Covenant, and then Alien.
Huh.
Or one in between Alien and then Covenant, or something he's talking about.
Well, if he wants to do 6, how is he going to fill the gaps unless he wants to do sequels? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm waiting for a director to come along and do a film for a franchise like this, and then and he goes, look, I've done this film, and hey, guess what? This is the final chapter. Now let's move on.
Yeah.
You know, because I do love Prometheus and Covenant, and I am enjoying what they're setting up, but I don't want them to keep... I don't want to have like 12 or 15 films. I like the idea of having this, you know, world being built up in the first 3 films, and then you watch Alien, Aliens, and Alien³, and if you want Alien Resurrection, with the knowledge of going, hey, look, this is now the end of the story, and here's the beginning.
Yeah, I would say cut it off at like 8 and don't count Resurrection.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they should. That's what they should do. It's like with the Star Wars films. I think, you know, I am a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, me too.
Over the recent years, I'm not really like diving into it as much as I did when I was younger.
Yeah. Just
because like I'm enjoying it as someone who stands away from it a little bit more now.
Yeah.
Because I'm concentrating more on Alien and Jurassic and Godzilla and Kong and all that sort of stuff. So,
right.
Yeah. I just saw the shot in the film, sorry, just to move on to a different subject, of the radar dish turning slowly when they're going to contact the company, and you've got that beautiful matte painting that just goes on and on and on, and it really shows the size of this facility that they're in.
Yeah, here's the thing about all the special effects. Do they suck? Yes. I said it in Chris's review. I like the soap opera effect for TVs. I turn it all the way up because it's a new way to experience movies. It's almost like looking at them when they're right next to you or like through a window. And if you turn that on, the puppeteering goes away, the crappiness, the look of it.
What was that effect you said you put on?
It's called like the soap opera effect, the smooth motion, true motion. It's a gimmick to where it gets rid of like the filmic 24 frames per second look.
So it adds and
it almost makes it 48 frames a second, which a lot of people hate. But I like to watch it as an alternative, and it's almost like watching your favorite movies like all over again. So
I've never experienced.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Oh, they don't have that over there.
I mean, they might do, but my TV doesn't have it.
Oh, okay. Maybe go to like wherever electronics store you have, Best Buy or something. I don't know if you got those, but go look at the TVs and see if they got it. You can definitely tell it looks very smooth, and I guess people say it's fake, but honestly, I like it. It's like you're looking at.
Interesting you say that, because I watched the the end fight from Jurassic World the other day in 60 frames per second.
That's probably it. Same thing.
Blown away by how realistic it looked. I was like, oh my god, because the extra frames added this movement to the animals.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Then
What you saw.
It was like, whoa, I feel like I'm looking for a window now.
Yeah. That's probably pretty much the same exact effect. It's almost the same frames per second. But once you put that up all the way, you crank that up on your TV, get rid of all the little problems you have with the blue screen, because they didn't use green, they used blue. All the blue screen puppeteering, all the matte painting stuff. And that's the thing, like this film, like if it used like ILM's talented people, or if they had more budget, because obviously they're pissing a budget for some other stuff that wasn't special effects. And here's another thing, dude, I never said this before. A lot of people are like, oh man, but the puppeteering looks so bad. Dude, this is the first time I think they've had actual puppeteering for an Alien movie. Before that, it was just guys in suits. Well, yes, we had guys in suits for Alien 3.
It's actually really, really good puppeteering. It's just the composite. It's literally the blend of putting that footage onto that. They didn't get it finished, or they didn't refine it or whatever before the release.
It doesn't look very
refined. Had a release date before while they were shooting.
Yeah.
So, like, with today's technology, you could, with computers, enhance that Alien now. You could go back and enhance this, like put a CG monster over the rod puppet, or even cut it out frame by frame,
right,
and then enhance the rod puppet so it looks even more real. And I firmly believe they might do that one day. I wouldn't put it past them.
We need to Fincher advised. Even I've said this in this video. Give us a director's cut, David, with an asterisk. I don't care.
Oh God. Do you know what? If he hates this film so much because of the he disowned it or whatever they say, because he had such a shitty time making it, it's like, well, dude, own it now. You're like a power. You're like a power in Hollywood. You have the chance to take this film and now make it your own.
Absolutely.
And go, look, I'm now gonna correct the mistakes that were made in the past, because I've built myself up as this auteur. And it's like, well, just do it. Don't whinge in the corner. Go and make the film.
Yeah, absolutely. Like in my opinion, it goes Spielberg and then it goes Fincher for the best directors like living. So wow. I love Fincher, and I think he should. And I know he said in the past that if he were to do a director's cut of Alien 3, he would reshoot the whole thing, which I wouldn't be opposed to, but I would like to see him go back to clean up all the dailies, almost like what they did for the Blu-ray stuff. But
the Blu-ray of Alien 3 is just gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
I mean, they redid all the sound, didn't they? They redubbed it all, and it because I remember getting the DVD quadrilogy, and then hearing the extra scenes. I was amazed by these extra scenes, but the hiss was really off-putting. It was like, oh, for God's sake, why couldn't they have fixed that? But then obviously on the Blu-ray they did. Yeah. So this is what I mean by, I can imagine in the future maybe another Blu-ray down the line that
4K.
They've gone over the Alien with special effects. And then for me, I think that might actually make the film perfect. It's like, done. You've completely fixed it.
See, here's the thing, like, because Alien 3 used to get so much hate, and now people are starting to like turn the tide a little bit more. They're starting to like the film and accept it for what it is.
A little bit.
And I'll take that any day. If you and I can somehow like start up a conversation and get people excited more and see Alien 3 through a different eye or perspective, and people start to like it more, and it gets more traction, that David actually goes, yeah, maybe I'll give it a chance, because he's worked like in the past. He's worked with Fox. Gone Girl was Fox, and Fight Club was Fox. So it's not like he has a vendetta against Fox or anything.
No, exactly.
So I think he's getting older. He'll understand that life is short, and not to hold grudges and shit. And he's so established and so like effing incredible that I think he might do it. I don't know. I have faith. I'm a man of faith.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely do as well. Yeah, it's just a shame. Is Alien 3 your favorite Fincher film then?
I would say yes. If it's not, my favorite Fincher film is The Game, but I'm gonna say Alien 3 is my favorite Fincher.
Good choice.
I know, right? Zodiac does not make my top 10, but it does make my top 15, so that'd be number 3. But like I said, Fincher for me is awesome. I'm not the biggest fan of Benjamin Button, but all of his films are freaking incredible.
I think Benjamin Button was passable. I'm a 7 fan. I think 7 is...
Seven's okay. I give 7 a 7, and people are making fun of me because I made fun of
like that.
some of the... Exactly. It's the irony. I compared some of the... Because everyone's like, 7's the best psychological thriller, and I made my case for Exorcist 3 is, and I compared the action scene editing was too quick, and for me it's just too much music. It's just overpowering of the film, rather than like more of a quieter Exorcist 3.
There's a really weird thing in 7 where I feel like David Fincher was almost creating a theme or a set piece in each of his films. You know the scene in Alien 3, the most famous one, where the alien's right next to Ripley and it's roaring right in her face?
Yeah.
Well, there's a scene where I think the character, I can't remember Brad Pitt's name, his character name in 7, but I think it's David, is it?
I forget. I know that William was Morgan Freeman. It might have been David.
Yeah. So, they're both of them are chasing the killer, and he chases him down an alleyway, and then, you know, he gets hit around the head, and he's lying on the floor, and the killer puts a gun right to his head, and it's almost the exact same shot.
Yeah.
It's like Fincher had this sort of thing in his films, or he was starting to establish of having someone truly terrified with the thing that they fear the most right in their face. And even the music in that scene, if you watch 7 and you watch that whole alleyway sequence and the way he shoots the gun going towards, you know, his head, it's like it could be the alien and Ripley, like exactly the same. So I feel like he doesn't wholly hate Alien 3. I think maybe some of the media and the press have sort of bigged up his hatred of it a little bit more.
Yeah, that doesn't help at all.
You know, it doesn't help that he didn't come back to do a cut, but
no,
you know, who knows? Never say never.
That's true.
Yeah. A lot of people forget how influential Alien 3 is on the franchise as well. It introduced, it didn't necessarily introduce directly the idea of the alien taking traits of its host, because that's mentioned by Ridley Scott in the original Alien, the making of. He said, you know, it's birthed from a man and it looks like a man, kind of thing. But Alien 3 was the one that really sold that to the world and was like, no, you put one of these things in a dog or an ox, it's going to come out more animal-like.
Yeah.
And that spawned the whole Aliens Kenner line. And that also spawned nearly every single... The Pred Alien wouldn't exist without Alien 3.
You're right.
You know? So I feel like a lot of people forget how influential Alien 3 was on the franchise.
Yeah, they really want to go balls out with that, with the Vincent... I think it was Vincent Ward. He had like the sheep, like the half sheep, half alien.
Was that with the face coming out of his ass?
Yeah, oh my god, yeah. Then there's a human face coming out of the butt of the sheep, yeah. There's a couple designs they had, and then they had Giger do some, and then they ended up like crediting Giger, but they used like their own whatever special
ADI,
effects.
Yeah. No, it is. I'm trying to see, because I swear Alien 3 was nominated for an Oscar in one category. I swear it was. I'm just trying to look that up.
Dude, I have to ask you, because you're like a wealth of information for Alien. I thought I read somewhere that Elliot Goldenthal's score was like Rolling Stone's like one of the best like music scores ever made. Like apparently Rolling Stone put that in like with their list of like top 50 or 100 or some shit.
I think so. Yeah.
I can't find that article wherever it went, or that information. I was
be lost. It might be like from a StarBeast magazine from like 1996 or something.
But I remember reading that, and I'm like, where the hell did it go? And I was like, I have to ask another Alien expert.
Okay, so Alien 3 was nominated in the Saturn Awards for Best Science Fiction Film, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Director, Best Writing, Best Costume, Best Special Effects. It was also best nominated for an MTV Movie Award for Best Action Sequence for the alien running chase through the tunnel. Golden Reel Awards, it won for Best Sound Editing. Hugo Awards, it was nominated for Best Dramatic Presentation.
Nice.
The British Academy Film Awards, Best Special Effects was nominated. And also it was nominated for Best Special Effects or Best Visual Effects at the Academy Awards.
There you go.
So everyone who shits on the effects in Alien 3,
there you go.
Oh, you know, the Academy spotted it. They didn't care about the rod puppets.
Yeah, exactly.
It was how it blended into the story.
I even say that in Chris's review. You have to remember, this was 1992. They didn't have the budget for special effects. This is before Jurassic Park, before like everything went crazy. There's only one shot that's CG, fully digitally composed in Alien 3. It's the one where the skull cracks when the water hits the xenomorph.
Yeah, I think it's just the cracks of CG.
Yep. It's the whole 2 seconds. The whole 2 seconds of the cracks. That's the only CG shot. Everything else is like in-house, so to speak, or composited with school elements. Like the matte painters, I guess I wanted to talk about that. Or like where the hell do you see that anymore? Matte painters? Like, well, that's crazy.
Matte paintings change. They still do it. They actually still do matte painting, but it's all done digitally. So and it will be done with what do they call it? It's where they layer it up like a modern one. I was watching it the other day in Jurassic World. Like the mosasaur grabs the shark, and as it falls back into the water, you've got layers and layers and layers and layers of backgrounds and all this sort of stuff. And it's that's the modern day equivalent of a matte painting.
I got it. It's like a Photoshop thing. They just paint it.
Like Prometheus, they had all the mountains for the backdrops. They were dropping mountains here, there, and everywhere, and moving it all around. And they see. This is the thing with special effects. The old school effects still happen. It just happens in the computer.
Yeah.
And albeit a lot of people are just typing away at a computer to get it done.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean they don't have to think in the same mindset as someone who's building something in the physical world or painting something. It's like, well, we still have to make it fit.
Yeah.
as best we can. You mentioned the ending, and I wanted to say something about this. The Alien films have this tradition. So and I wanted to say why Alien 3 for me stands out even more above the other films. Now, obviously, I love them all equally, aside from Resurrection and the AVP films. Mm-hmm. But if someone did have a gun to my head, I'd be like, Alien 3 assembly cut through and through.
Yep,
that's my number one, because I grew up on it more than the others. But why it stands out even more is the ending, because the ending of Alien is they blow up the ship, or Ripley blows up the ship.
Yep.
She thinks the alien's dead. She goes into a shuttle to escape. The alien's stowed away. Mm-hmm. She runs and hides in a cupboard, gets suited up, and then blows the alien out of the airlock.
Yep.
The end of Aliens. What happens? Ripley blows up the base. They think the alien's dead.
Yep.
The alien's stowed away on board.
Yep.
She's shocked. She goes and hides in a cupboard, gets suited up, comes out, blows the alien out of the airlock. It's pretty much the same exact ending, just retooled.
Yep.
Well, Alien 3, obviously, they do something similar. They drop the lead on the alien. They think the alien's dead. It comes back. But instead of blowing it out of an airlock, she uses water. And it's like this beautiful, almost like the one, she said all the other aliens are scared of fire. Mm-hmm. It's funny how this one gets killed by water. Yeah. Even though it's obviously not afraid of water at all. It's like it blows up because of the water. But the ending of this film is really not the alien's death. It's Ripley facing the company. The people who this whole time have been on her tail. And now she literally has the alien's future in her chest. And she is the key. So she has to make that choice. And I think that's so much more of obviously it was meant to be the final end, but I just find that way more powerful because of an ending, because of what it is. Whereas when then you watch Alien Resurrection and it goes back to they blow up the ship, they think the alien's dead, it stows away on board, Ripley comes back, well, she doesn't get suited up because she doesn't need to, but she ends up essentially blowing it out of an airlock. Prometheus again kind of breaks this sort of tradition by she does think the alien's dead because they blow up the ship and then the engineer comes back, and then it ends a bit differently because it's actually an open ending and it's going to continue on through to Covenant. So it's I do like that ending, but Alien 3 is that whole build up to her literally standing in front of the company and going, okay, I've got a choice here, and she's got nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm. I thought you were going to get on the whole double ending thing, because It's a double ending in Alien. It's just I'm not a fan of double endings at all, but they do work.
Well, did you know Ridley Scott apparently claims that he invented that with Alien?
No way, really?
Yeah, and if you can find me an example of a film that predates Alien that does that, you'll have found it.
Huh.
But I've been looking, I've heard, I can't even remember where he said that. He said that in an interview somewhere. I think it might have even been on the Alien quadrilogy. I think it's on that.
Huh.
In the making of Alien, he talks about it.
I believe him. I mean, I don't think I remember, but it's just like, since then, it's just like, how many double endings do we need? I think it was mostly into the 80s, maybe like the slasher films, I don't know. But
well, that's the thing. If Alien did set it as like this gimmick that's in horror films, then the Alien franchise is free to use it as much as it wants.
That's true.
Because if it's the one that invented it, then fair enough.
Right.
But I get what you mean. That double ending has been used so much.
Yeah.
I mean, Die Hard comes to mind.
Yeah.
Where like the guy bursts out with the gun and right at the end.
But
and that's linked because that uses James Horner's unused music from Aliens.
Nice.
In the middle of Die Hard. It's like they needed some music. The composer was now busy on another project, so they pulled up some of James Horner's old music from Aliens.
Yeah.
Just slapped it in there.
What I was gonna get to was I thought what you were gonna get to was the usage of the double endings for the first one and the second one, which I'll let slide because they work. They're not cheap or anything. They're scary. Right. And I thought you were gonna get to how I guess there is a little bit that you've mentioned for Alien 3 with it coming out of the molten. And
it's very quick. They don't linger on it for long. Because the other films, they really draw out the fact that you think you've got away, and then it comes back. And this, they pour the lead. Golic basically said, the music starts to flare up.
Yes, it does.
And then Golic says, "I hate bugs," or whatever he shouts.
I love him. I hate bugs. So I thought you were gonna get on to how there really wasn't like a lingering double ending, and we have ourselves not an open ending, and all the doors slam shut with emphasis, and that's it. We have our sign off voiceover, and it just ends. Like it's it
ends on Ripley's original SOS message from Alien, and if I don't know if you know this, but in the script it says that it's not the company has that on their logs or anything. It's like that message is just drifting through space and it gets picked up by the EV in Farina 161.
Oh, that's like dope. I never thought about that.
Passing the planet, so it's like a ghost, and that's what it's written down.
That's perfect.
But when you know that and you watch, you're like, oh, cool. It's not like they have it on log or anything.
That's true. I thought it was literal. I thought that was like a log they're playing back or something. Holy shit, that's amazing.
Obviously the film, you can basically say whatever it is because the film doesn't argue either way. But yeah, I think in the original notes, that's what it says. It's like it's just this ghostly message comes floating through space and gets picked up. And
that's beautiful.
Hit. Yeah, which is it's such a shame that they had to bring it back for Resurrection.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I'm on the bit of the film now where the Wayland commandos and Bishop 2 or Michael Bishop is arriving. And
we have a first name for Bishop 2.0?
Oh, did you know that?
No, I thought it was just Bishop 2.
Well, it's Bishop 2 in the credits, but it's I can't even. I'm trying to bring it up from memory now. I'm being terrible, but his official name is Michael Bishop.
That's amazing.
So when you know that, everyone who claims that AVP is canon, they're like, oh, how did Charles Bishop Wayland end up being in Alien 3? Is he a long-lost ancestor? It's like, no. In the original storyline in Alien 3, that's Michael Bishop. That's a human who invented the Bishop android. Has nothing to do with Wayland, aside from he works for the company.
I am not a droid.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I can quote that movie all fucking day.
I'm now watching the bit where she's like, leave him, we're dead.
Oh,
the alien's like coming out. But no, the Wayland, just to add the cherry on top of the coolness that is Alien 3, you have the Wayland commandos. These guys in these almost cricket outfits.
Yeah, they're definitely cricket, dude. It's amazing.
Really like steampunk looking helmets, and they have these black pulse rifles, and they just look the coolest. They're they're probably my favorite looking villainous militarized people in any film ever. They just look so kick-ass.
Yeah.
And they really look like they mean business.
Yeah, they're very menacing. It's just like, they have a look to them and just like, whoa. Like they could have easily gone like really cheap like looking armor or like legit football pads or something. But they just
they kind of look like I know in the hideous game Aliens Cloning Marines, they have sort of space versions of those guys, which I actually thought looked pretty cool in the game. They were like, if you could imagine those suits going out into space, they kind of almost look like a blend of the original Nostromo suits and then the Wayland Commandos.
The costuming, like it was nominated, is pretty much spot on this film. Like all the prisoners all like grungy and they got rags on. It's like everything is so like beautiful and it's like dirtiness.
Yeah, there's an art to making something look so miserable, but somewhere you would love to just go snooping around and look at everything and be like, look how grungy all this is.
I think that's also adds into me with my just visual stimulation for the film. Like the mess hall is probably my favorite like area of like any of the films, like set design wise. Like it's just something about it, like the whole planet, the design of it.
Which one's that?
For Alien 3, the mess hall, like the little cafeteria.
Oh, where
in Alien 3.
Where Andrews bites the dust.
Oh yeah. I love the assembly cut. Just as I thought, Mr. Aaron, as I thought. You called it, sir. Oh my God! I don't know. It's the corridors. I think there's a YouTube video. They just cut together all like the Fincher directed shots of like the corridors of the film, of like all like the little dirty hallways, and it's just a gorgeous set and location. And it's probably my favorite out of all of them, just for that, let alone the cool story for me and the ending for Ripley's character.
Well, it seems like such again, like each Alien film makes you believe not only the aliens, as an entity that's alive and the characters and all this sort of stuff, but the settings are always somewhere that's really believable.
Oh yeah,
and no more so in my books is Alien 3 because I used to, in my middle school, there's a basement. We used to go down there. We went, teachers told us not to go down there. We'd go down there and it just looked like the corridors from Alien 3. And I used to freak out when I go down there, but I'd want to go down there.
Yeah.
Just to like look around and be like, holy crap, look at this. This just looks like Fury 161.
Oh my God, so
like,
good.
There's so many places like that. Whenever I see pipes on a ceiling, I'm like, I know what that's reminded me of. Or like giant fans or whatever.
Yeah.
The setting of this film.
Don't bite the dust like Murphy. Murphy!
Yeah.
How do you know? It's his boot.
It's his boot.
I love that damn film. I could quote it all day.
It's so good. But again, like with the setting, it has, they talk about it in the making of, like they have the almost church-like windows in the cafeteria. And you have, like, I think it's in Clement's room, where, after him and Ripley have slept together, there's like this shot, and in the background you can see he has almost like a stained glass window in there. And it's like, it's so surreal to see these like heavily religious looking set pieces alongside this very scientific future. Because the two shouldn't really blend, as because there's the whole science, religion, and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's supposed to be opposites.
But the combination, this film is almost like the perfect movie for bridging that gap. And going, look, we're going to tell a sci-fi film, but it's going to have a very religious story,
right?
And we're going to make it feel like something that is really happening. Obviously, again, the rod puppet is what takes people out from it, but and the miserable story. But I don't know. I say miserable story. The film is very funny in parts.
Oh yeah.
I think a lot of people overlook the whole scissors line and
dumb shit.
and even down to like when Morse is climbing the steps to go and start the move the lead works, he like slips on the step and he's like panicking and when he sees the alien take Andrews, his only line is fuck.
Oh yeah, great.
Literally the best use of that word
absolutely
in cinema history.
Absolutely.
There's no way to describe what he's just seen.
There's so many great funny ass lines in there. Listen to me, little shit. Screw with me, I'll cut you in half.
That's what happens when one of these dumb sons of bitches walks around with a heart on.
I love it. I absolutely love it. You know, all okay, Aliens has some great one-liners, but that's all it was. It was like they're just like flat characters, Marines. They're gonna get killed. Some of them do arc, like Vasquez, but they're mostly just there to get killed, and they have one-liners. They're one-line machines. But like the people here, they might be no more than one or two dimensions, but they have some lines that are just, for me, so quotable and hilarious, like that one right there.
Well, I think the actors play the role of the prisoners in such a way that you believe they have a history before they even open their mouths.
That too.
You're just looking at them and you're like, guys, what have you been through?
Right.
What have you done, kind of thing.
Look at Frank's face or something.
Yeah, the little teardrop, down the eye and all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of, and obviously you see like Boggs and Rains hanging out with each other, and Bollock obviously,
messed up,
is the outsider. I just I'll sound like a broken record, but there's no other film out there like Alien-3. No other film out there from any other franchise or even standalone film that tells a story like Alien-3 tells it.
Right.
And it's, there are films that have there are films out there that take an Alien-3 style and sort of expand on it. I think the film The Relic reminds me a lot of Alien-3 in parts. There's one of Roland Emmerich's first films called Moon 44, which definitely has an Alien-3 vibe in parts. But the films that Alien-3 is sort of homaging itself are more like Joan of Arc from the 1920s and stuff, like Ripley looking bald. There's a great video on Vimeo by the Roger Ebert company called The Unloved. It was actually the first video they did. They did a series of reviews of films called The Unloved, and Alien-3 was the first one they did, and they really praise it. Like, awesome. They highly praise it. So if you haven't seen that, I really do recommend.
I have to see all those you mentioned. I haven't seen any of them.
Oh yeah, man. Oh, Moon 44 sucks. You don't need to watch that.
Okay.
But if you watch the opening 20 minutes, you'll see what I mean, because even the credits and the music and the atmosphere.
Maybe they got some clips on YouTube you can send me. I can see the these on scene.
When I started watching it, I was like, are they using the sets from Alien-3?
Oh wow.
Have they gone in and just used the sets? But I don't think they did, but it really looks like it. But yeah, I mean, I could talk about this stuff all day. But yeah.
What you're calling back to earlier, though, we're getting more love for this movie, and as the time goes by, more people are starting to like it. And I think it might be attributed, just like how we said, there's so many sequels and reboots and stuff. And also, I think because what we're seeing in Hollywood now, there's so many superhero films. There's like at least 3 to 5, I think, a year. And like most of them, at least the Marvel films, I know DC's kind of striking out, but at least they're taking risks with their stories. Marvel's, most of the superhero films are origin stories, and then we have a really weak villain. Like, I'm thinking like Ant-Man and Doctor Strange, and we're seeing like the same formula over and over again. And I think if people start to go back and revisit like films like Alien-3, and they took so much risk, maybe people will appreciate it some more, that it did take all those chances.
Yeah, I mean, I do understand where some people are coming from when they say like, oh, I wanted to see like Ripley win in a more heroic way.
Yeah.
It's like, but really, if you were this character in this position, you are literally doing the most heroic thing ever. You can't top taking your own life with the last alien inside you in front of the company, and no one will know you're doing it. But you know, and Morse knows. But it's like, it's the perfect way to end that character. And there's no, they wouldn't do that now. They really wouldn't.
No.
I'd be very surprised if they did something like this with this day and age, in this day and age. And I mean, like, I don't know what I was going to get to. I'm getting sucked into watching the Blu-ray now because Ripley's talking to Michael Bishop.
Promise me you'll destroy it.
We're gonna take it out of you.
Perfect. I am not a droid.
We can't allow it to live. Everything we know would be in jeopardy.
It sounds just like him. It's almost like you just got the speaker up to your microphone.
No pictures.
Yeah, oh my god, yeah, that's okay. That's the only thing
With the big ass camera.
That's the only thing that I find as a true error. I don't look at the puppeteering as an error. I don't look at
you look at the camera, the giant camera.
No, not the camera, just the line. It just seems cheesy. So if there's any God's way, if like I'm included in on choosing a new cut for Alien 3 or helping out David Fincher, I'm gonna tell him, hey David, it's a cheesy line. I think it's because of the delivery, but that's the only real error that I would get rid of. The perfection to me of Alien 3 assembly cut, because he just no pictures and it cuts to. It's just I don't know. It's too funny for the moment, and it's supposed to be a serious.
Now you've said that, I kind of get what you mean. The no picture line is quite cliche, but I've never had a problem with it. But if I was to make changes, it would be to enhance the alien.
Yes.
CG. Just clean up the edges of it. That's all you really need to do. Especially replace the alien running out of the hold they have it in that Golic releases it from. You know, when it runs out of that door, that looks absolutely dreadful. Completely redo that. Mm-hmm. But I'd also remove the egg shot from the Sulaco. Now, I know what I just said about the theory.
Right.
But if you remove the egg shot, then you just have two facehuggers. And it's even more enhanced by the fact that at the end of the credits of Aliens, you hear a facehugger scuttling around. Like, it's been there from the beginning. It's just that egg is the thing that throws people off, because it's like, one, where is that egg? It's definitely not on the drop ship. It's in the Sulaco somewhere. And two, how did it get up on the wall? So if you were just to remove that egg shot, it really makes sense. It still does. And not many people know that at the end of Aliens there's a facehugger sound scuttling up.
Dude, I need to ask you right now. I need to play that back in my mind to make sure you just said that, because I've never heard of this before. There is a facehugger sound effect of it crawling around at the end of Aliens?
Yes.
Oh my god, I need to watch this when we're done with this.
It's really subtle. You need to turn the sound up, but it is there. And it sounds like it's meant to be alluding to the fact that it's on the Sulaco.
Okay, I definitely need to. I'm gonna do that after we're done.
It was done, I think, as a gimmick, but they obviously played off of that for Alien 3.
It's in both cuts of Aliens.
What's that? Sorry.
Is it in both cuts, the special and the theatrical, or is it just in one?
Oh, don't quote me on that. I think it is. I think it was also in the cinematic release, but
all right, I'll look at both.
Don't quote me on that. I could be completely wrong, but I know it's definitely on the extended edition Blu-ray.
Okay. I'll watch that when we're done with this for sure, and I'll tweet you.
Yeah, because that's also one of the things that enhances. If they just remove that egg shot, then Aliens establishes that there's a facehugger on the ship.
Wow.
So, but this is the good thing about what I think the black goo and what the Prometheus is set up is. The black goo is alluding to the fact that these aliens can pretty much come from anywhere. If you're exposed to them, they're going to pop up and you're going to not really know where they've come from. They're just there. It's like this hideous virus that you can't get rid of.
Right.
So what happens in Covenant and future films, it might help the fact that, you know, the egg could have just grown from slime.
Yeah, because we don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg. What came first, the queen or the egg? Yeah. So, and we need a host, so like how does this all work out? So I guess we'll find out. Besides the goo.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to say this. On screen, Ripley has literally just disappeared into the lead, so I think this is a good point to cap this off, because I literally could be talking for hours. And so
the last question for both of us: theatrical cut versus assembly cut. Which one do you prefer? The queen bursting out, or her with the religious symbol of the cross?
Religious symbol, hands down. See, and I'll tell you this. I'll tell you why. It annoys me that the queen burst out of Ripley, because in Aliens, if people talk about Newton Hicks being killed as a detriment, as a disservice to Aliens, but no, not at all. The Queen bursting out of Ripley is a disservice to Aliens, because she had nightmares about that through the whole film. She keeps waking up in cold sweats, and you don't want your main character to go through the very thing that she's been fearing from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Like right at the last second. It's almost like the alien went, "Bah, gotcha," and then she dies.
Yeah.
And even though I know she grabs it and holds on, but now we're talking about, well, this is a chest burster. It's a queen chest burster, so it's going to be bigger. She wouldn't be holding on to it lovingly, taking it into her embrace. No, John, you saw what happened to John Hurt.
Yeah.
Like, this thing would be hideous coming out of her as she fell. Like, it wouldn't be pretty.
Yeah.
So I find the one where she just dives in, it's like she not only stops the alien, totally killing its species, as far as we know.
Yeah.
She stops the company getting it, and she also manages to do it without the Queen bursting out of her.
Yeah.
In a hideous way. It's just a more believable ending. And obviously, falling, anyone would put their arms out. So you can say it's a religious looking thing, but it's also a natural way for someone to fall.
True.
You wouldn't fall like that with your arms down by your side, like
True.
Go into a dive. You would fall back with your arms out. You'd be like, yeah, just take me, you know.
Yeah.
So I do prefer the theatrical ending.
The assembly, you mean?
The assembly.
I prefer the assembly too, but I remember I absolutely hated it. I thought it was so cheesy, the theatrical. But I did rewatch for Chris's review. I rewatched the theatrical, and honestly, I don't mind it as much, even though I still prefer the assembly. But I thought
it's not as bad as
I thought of it as actually a beautiful thing, and Chris actually laughs at me. But I explain. It coming out and it's screaming and it knows that it's going to die, rather than like it's screaming like the hurt chest burster.
Yeah.
Like it's birth for the first time. It's excited, and Ripley grabs onto the Queen, and it's almost, you don't really see it so much, but I think it's implied that it's like, no, bitch, this is it. This is your death. I'm dying. You're dying too. This is the last of the race or the species.
Yeah.
So I thought, it was like, okay, it's actually not too bad of an idea, but I still prefer the cross falling into, because it's just a little more beautiful to me. But I can still see why some people might prefer subconsciously the theatrical cut, which I don't mind as much as I used to, but still, I still prefer the assembly.
I'm not gonna lie, it is cool to see a baby Queen chest burster. Like, that is awesome.
Oh yeah, we both had the statue, you know.
yeah, we do both have the statue. But yeah, no, for realism and what happens with Ripley as a character, I really prefer the alien not to burst out of her, because it's like she just nips it right at the last second and doesn't even give the alien the satisfaction of seeing the outside world. It's like, no, you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, all done. Any final thoughts, man, before we wrap this up?
If you haven't checked out Alien 3, you should watch it, listeners, viewers. It's pretty awesome. If you haven't
watched it, we've just spoiled it completely.
That's true, though. But we didn't talk about some stuff, but we still hyped it up enough to where you should be able to revisit, maybe give it another shot.
We didn't talk about the ripples in the water.
Oh my God, that's just great screenwriting for crunch time rewrites on set. I love that. I know
stuff. There's definitely going to be like 1,000,001 things I want to talk about.
We can do this again. Shit.
Yeah, we should do the Alien. We should do this for all of it.
Oh,
just
absolutely.
Talk about anything. But yeah, man. Cheers for coming on and talking Alien 3 with me. If you do think of anything else you want to talk about, we can do this again.
Absolutely, yeah.
Hit me up a message or whatever.
All right, man.
We'll get this done.
Thanks for inviting me on. It was a lot of fun.
No worries. And you said you got a review with Chris Stuckmann. Am I pronouncing his last name?
Yeah. So that's, I think, probably going this Sunday. I don't know when, but we already filmed it and that's ready to go. And it's like it's like an hour long. It's almost like we talk a little bit about the it's probably first third of the film, or his video is talking about the pre-production, all the troubles that David Fincher went through, and the production hell. And then the last 2/3 is more like a review. So.
That's good. Well, I'll make sure to upload this after that, because I don't want to step on his toes, because we have talked quite a bit about Alien 3.
All right.
And with you being in this and that, I don't want to step on his toes or anything. Not that I have a following like him. But,
yeah, right. You're being proper. Yeah.
Yeah, it's out of respect. So it's like I'll wait till he's released his review, and then.
If you're American, you'd be a total dick and totally do it right now.
Yeah.
But you're a gentleman.
A gentleman, a scholar.
A scholar.
Just give Chris my love for his Lost World review, by the way, because it's so refreshing to see someone who absolutely freaking loves that movie, and it's like, good, damn it. Like, I'm sick and tired of hearing people complain about that film, like Alien 3. But anyway, yeah. So on that note, guys, thanks for listening, and catch you soon.
Bye.